Call the City of Lloydminster regular council meeting of Monday, February 25th, 2019 to order. At this time, we'll take a silent moment of personal reflection. As a reminder, all members of council are obligated to declare a conflict of interest or pecuniary interest per section 133 of the Lloydminster Charter regarding any item on this agenda. Moving on to agenda item number 2, additions or deletions to this agenda. Is there anything to add? This time, not seeing any from the city manager. I'll move to item number 3, looking for direction on the approval of the agenda. Councilor Beggins.
That the agenda dated February 25th, 2019 be approved.
Seconder? Councilor Buckingham. Any further discussion before I call for the question? Not seeing any. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Moving on to item number 4, approval of minutes of the previous meeting. I look to council for direction. Councilor Buckingham.
With the regular council minutes dated February 11th, 2019 be approved.
Seconder? Councilor Baker. Any further comments or questions before I call for the question? Not seeing any. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We're going on to item number 5, business arising from the minutes. None noted. We'll move on to item number 6, new business. I'll look to the city manager.
Good afternoon, Your Worship and Council. We present 6.1.1, amendment to bylaw 9, 2017, stormwater utility bylaw. I'll ask Executive Manager of Operations, Don Stanley, present.
Thank you, Worship. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Before you had bylaw number 02-2019 amendment to bylaw 9-2017, and administration is looking for a recommendation that council grant bylaw 0-2019 being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 9-2017 first reading. Stormwater utility rates expired on December 30, 2018, requiring an extension with the implementation of utility billing charges for a bi-monthly to monthly bylaw 9-2017 requires amending. Stormwater system bylaw 9-2017 was approved by council on March 27, 2017. The stormwater utility was intended to provide adequate funding mechanism for the city's stormwater infrastructure. The utility rates were established based on a lot size and consider property consumption of the stormwater system. Our current rates are identified in the admin report. I'm not going to go through each and every one of them, as you can read them. At the February 19, 2019 Governance and Priority Committee meeting, administration advised that the rates be established in 2017 expired on December 31st, 2018. Bylaw 02-2019 will extend the current rates and provide provision for the implementation of change from a bi-monthly billing to monthly billing. The extension will allow the city to conduct a thorough review of the utility with the intention of moving towards a self-sustaining utility structure. The review also aims to ensure the use of the most adequate utility model and generate administrative efficiencies for the implementation of the utility. Two bylaws before you are to grant bylaw reading our bylaw number 02-2019 first reading, or ask administration to bring back further information. I'll pass it back to you, Your Worship, for any questions.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Councilor Dorsey.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just want to confirm, like, on the kind of stub period since December 31st, as far as the expired rates to now, we were still able, or still are able legally to continue to charge those rates?
Thank you, Councillor. I believe, and God step in if I misspeak, but my understanding is we have reviewed that with our legal counsel, and the city has the ability to continue those rates from January 1st until the bylaw is amended.
That's correct. Councilor.
Thank you. So just to make sure I understand that right, so the way I read this, and I'm not an expert on these things, but is it more or less because the bylaw itself was not repealed, or the bylaw itself did not repeal at that time, regardless of what's in Schedule B?
Yeah, from our legal review, it's my understanding that because we're still providing that service to the property owners, we are still able to provide, or charge at the existing rates.
Okay, thank you.
I guess, Councilor Buckingham.
Thank you, Worship. I just wanted to add something to it a bit myself. I think it's fair to say that the reason that this is coming up now is it also now aligns with the switch to monthly billing, and it would take one bylaw change instead of two separate ones to get that all accomplished. Is that fair as well?
That'd be fair. I know there's been some question in the public regarding, where's the money been going? And I just want to go back to 2017 when this was brought before this council. Can you give me give the taxpayers a general idea? We've been spending, I believe, about $2 million a year on stormwater and our capital infrastructure projects to this point.
Yeah, that is correct, Your Worship. There's been quite a few capital projects that we've been using this money to fund. Primarily, one of the larger ones, I guess, would be the north, I'm going to maybe get this wrong, east or west drainage channel that runs from Ely Edmonds back to around 59th Avenue. We're improving the culvert sizes there to improve stormwater flow through that area, which has caused some concerns in major events in the past. I'll refer back to a previous council meeting where we brought a grant application forward for, I think, around 30, 40, 50, $60 million worth of stormwater work. I can't remember which option we ended up on. I apologize for that. But it just goes to show the significant amount of infrastructure improvements that are coming forward through to improve and maintain our stormwater system in the city.
You kind of addressed my second question, because that's really the master plan that we see in the administration work with on a regular basis identifies that close to $60 million of additional work to be done in the stormwater. So this, I believe, I want taxpayers to know that this isn't a project that was 1 or 2 years. This is a long-term project, and we're looking forward to administration coming back, looking at the utility model from water, sewer, stormwater, to try and give us a very clear picture. But I think that, to this point, I believe we've had a very easy ability to identify where that money needs to go.
Yeah, that is 100% correct. We're looking at long-term here. In our 2019 capital budget, I believe there was around $3 million worth of stormwater improvements allocated in 2019 as well, which is over and above what the amount we're collecting through this year.
Thank you.
So, quick question as well, is that, so what's the end date on this? Will this come back annually, so we review it through the fee rate? Do we charge, or is this now open-ended and there's no review date or anything on it? I was looking for a date, but how long it would last, or be in perpetuity, or rates reviewed on a scheduled basis, so.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor. I would assume this would be a rate evaluation year over year, but I would see this being a long-term bylaw in effect for long-term.
So we won't have to see this bylaw again other than just for the rates?
That's something we've talked about. I would assume that if this bylaw comes back, it would be to adjust rates going forward.
Otherwise, we'll continue forward with this. Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Councilor Baker.
Thank you, Your Worship. If you have a bylaw in place and all you're doing is changing the rate, you could have an amendment. You don't need a new bylaw. That's the way I understand.
And I believe you're absolutely right in this case, because there was a date attached to the last one, even though
So we haven't changed the rate.
we haven't changed the rate, nothing's changed either. Absolutely correct.
Yeah, right. Thank you, Your Worship.
Any other comments or questions? Councillor Thorson.
Thank you, Your Worship. Mine was just around the grants that we did apply for. Do we know when we're getting an answer back on those, or when we expect to, rather?
But I believe the turnaround was fairly quick, but we're a month in from when the application, but I want to say in the first quarter of 19. But we can get an answer from that from our grants person, and we'll send that out.
Okay, thank you.
For some reason, I had it in April in my mind, so it's first quarter into April, somewhere in there, in this month or so, I believe. Subject to how many grant applications are received from that pot of money the government, federal government has set aside for this program, so we'll see where we go from there. Any other questions? Comments? I'll look to council for direction on the recommendation. Councilor Belcher.
Move that council grant first reading to bylaw number 2-2019, amendment to bylaw number 9-2017, the stormwater utility bylaw.
Seconder? Councilor Monroe. Oh, this is the first reading, this is the first reading of bylaw, just for we're all clear. Okay. Any questions or comments? Not seeing any, I'll call for the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Back to you, City Manager, for 6.1.2.
Oh, that's okay, I'll ask Executive Manager of Operations, Don Stank.
Thank you, City Manager. Before you, we got bylaw number 03-2019, amendment to bylaw number 26-2016. Administration is looking for council's recommendation that council grant bylaw 03-2019 be bylaw to amend bylaw number 26-2016 first reading. With the implementation of the water service utility billings from bi-monthly billing to monthly billing, bylaw number 26-2016 required as amended. In September 2016, council approved the city's utility bylaw number 26-2016. This included updates to the authority clauses and provided clarity on process standards and enforcement measures. Administration has started work on implementing monthly billing. Going forward, every utility account will have a water meter reads completed at the end of each month, with implementation commencing on March 31st, 2019. Monthly billing will provide consistency for comparing monthly water usage and for making payments, as the due dates will be the 25th of each month. These positive changes will assist customers with regular monthly billing, utility bills and payment dates, while providing efficiencies and cost savings for the city with reduced labor hours, printing costs, and potential reduction in bad debt. The ease of transitioning to a monthly billing and reading 10,000 plus water meters citywide on the same day has made possible that council approved the installation of the advanced metering infrastructure, also known as AMI system, from Neptune at the June 12, 2017 council meeting. Water services utility billing change implementation was presented at the February 19, 2019 governance and priority meeting. It was noted that with the change to monthly billing, an amendment is required to bylaw 26-2016 Schedule B to reduce consumption of 60 cubic meters per billing period to 20 or 30 cubic meters per billing period. The changes to monthly billing will be communicated to account holders via mail inserts included with the utility bills, the city's website, and social media outlets. Before you, council has two options to grant bylaw 03-2019 first reading, or ask administration to bring back further information. I'll pass it back to you, Your Worship, for any questions.
Thank you, Executive Manager Stank. Questions or comments? Councilor Buckingham?
Thank you, Your Worship. Do we know currently, and even percentage-wise, how many customers are currently an e-bill customer versus still a paper bill?
Maybe I'll ask Ken Urban, our manager of water services, to answer that question.
But if we're talking about this stuff, and we're talking about efficiencies, and that we're not going to, double our bills, but, I just wanted to have a little bit of background on e-billing.
Yes, so currently we have 1,600 customers set up for e-billing right now. And we have about 3,500 emails on our accounts, but just the 1,600 are set up for e-bills.
So as part of our reach out communications through social media and everything that we just described in this presentation, how much focus are we going to put on seeing if we can't divert some of the paper bills to e-billing? Is that something we've talked about?
Sorry.
For the actual awareness campaign around switching to monthly billing, are we putting some focus on the fact that you can now have your bills emailed to you to try and keep those efficiencies going?
Well, everybody's going to be getting a paper insert or a paper copy of the changes to the monthly billing, and we're going to be doing a city mass-wide on the e-bills as well, 3,500. The communication is going to be using social media and putting information in the papers.
Our intent, Councillor, is to move all utility bills to e-billing. Obviously, there's some residents that may not be able to do that for whatever personal reasons, whether they don't have internet computers. That may still need paper billing, but our intent is to move to as much of e-billing as possible citywide. That's our intent. Our target would be 100% e-billing. Obviously, we might not be able to get like 200%, but that's our intent.
I think the other thing that, while we have you up here, that for people that may or may not know about this switch to monthly billing, and another part of it is maybe you could speak again to the efficiencies found in problems that people have had in keeping their personal bills down because of the quicker ability to negate issues.
Well, yes. So on the old system, we had to bill their water meters every 2 months, and once we took those readings, and sometimes it would have a high consumption usage, we could never explain that. So now with the new system, we have hourly data coming in, and this just helps us pinpoint when an event happens in their household. And a lot of times it actually, we call the customer, let them know what's going on, and it actually helps them trigger something that actually did happen during that time frame. So it really helps us to explain, why the high consumption occurred. A lot of times in the past we had to blame it on the meter or bad reading, but now the system is pretty accurate and we can really pinpoint the issues. And not only that, we can now put a picture to the numbers, i.e. we can determine when there's a toilet leak or there's irrigation being used because of the patterns and stuff like that. So our staff are pretty good now in interpreting the data that's available to us and really help with the customer.
I've taken kind of a keen interest in this from the very beginning and watched how it's gone. I just wanted to, on my behalf at least, thank you and your team for all the work you put into, first of all, finding the system, getting it implemented, and the ease at which this has all gone, and the end goal of making more efficiencies for people. And I truly believe in this system, and we've had you and I have had conversations about things that we found that saved both companies and personal households a lot of grief by finding problems sooner than later. So just on my behalf, thanks to you and your team for all the work you've done on this.
Councillor Baker.
Yes, Your Worship. Dealing directly with the bylaw as presented, or the recommendation. I've been asked already, what happens to administration fees? So as far as I know, if you're paying $50 now, you pay $25 a month. There's no extra change to the administrative fees, is that right?
That's correct. Actually, the bylaw 26-2016, all their rate fees are actually based on monthly billing.
Right, but it's really important.
But there's no change in rate fees at this time. No.
But make sure that however we promote this, the people know we're not changing the administration fee. Because I've been asked twice, and I just, part of your information thing. But it made me say if your 2-month bill's got $50 worth of charges on it, I'm not talking the water consumption. I'm talking
The fixed fees.
all the other fees.
Yes. That was part
It's
of the
50-50, that's all I'm saying.
Yes, that was part of the insert.
On the e-bill thing, if I may, Your Worship, as late as in the last 3 months, ATCO Electric, for example, to our household, has sent emails saying, if you want to go electronic, we go electronic. And they got it set up because not everybody will be able to handle electronic. So it's just like paying your school taxes. You pay to this school division or that school. Do you want email or do you want a hard copy? And I think if you're going to offer e-billing, there's many people out there who want that. But we should also offer hard billing for those that choose to do that, only because I believe there's a lot of people, there's a certain amount of people that just can't handle it. And they don't have the equipment to do what you do every day.
So I
just-
agree with you. We plan to have plan to have an option whether it's e-billing, but if somebody doesn't have our electronic capabilities of receiving those, then we will offer a paper bill.
Yeah, that's
There may
good.
be a slight nominal charge for that paper bill, basically our cost, but there will be an option to receive paper or electronic copy.
But to some, they can't handle the change, that's all I'm saying. So it's important that we transmit that to the public. And thank you.
Councilor. Councilor Torres?
Thank you, Your Worship. Well, I'm going to sound like a broken record here because I've been sold on this since June 2017. We were talking about going to monthly billing. I think it's going to be good for ratepayers for them to be able to budget, $100 a month instead of $200 every other month, depending on individual personal financial situation. It's good for the city. From the perspective of the fact that the city's receivables on the utility side should essentially cut themselves in half over a relatively short period, which frees up hundreds of thousands of dollars. So that's good. Then you've got the functional side of this thing where you can track leaks and identify them quicker and easier, and there's less waste going on. Well, that's good for everyone, including our long-term infrastructure. So this is a real slam dunk for me because it's something that, although it's taken a while to get everything to this point, but I'm really happy to see that it's getting to this point. So, again, thank you for everything you guys have done up to this point in the water department, and really looking forward to seeing this come to a conclusion. There may be a few kinks, but we'll work those out as we go, as far as how people are going to be billed, and whether or not there's an additional cost that comes with mailing these things out. But those things will work themselves out over time, I do believe, and if there are any additional costs there, they've likely been saved in all the other areas that we have, so that won't be an issue. So, I really like hearing about this bylaw. One more thing I was going to ask, though, in terms of a question, is just on this stub period where we're switching over from the 60 meters to the 30. Do you imagine any scenarios where you might have some people who have the wrong standard applied to them in these first few billings, where it might put them over the 30 and now they're being charged premium, we'll say, on anything over a 30 because it ought to have been at the 60 standard but is going to the 30, or is that not a concern with the way it's going to change over?
I've checked with the billing staff on this one because there is that one bill, it's going to be 45 days. So we're going to prorate everything. So if your bill is 45 days, the trigger will be 45 cubic meters for that.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's really important that you've got that system worked out. So that takes the one last concern I had with this out of the way. So thank you.
Councilor Echek?
Thank you. I just add one thing, I guess what Councilor Torson was saying, is that our ability to ensure that the rate of, the percentage of water that we're producing, that we're being paid for and used is that gap is the lost part of this significantly. And I think the other part, certainly the stories you heard about people taking advantage of water supply using a bypass valve, whatever, where we're at now puts us in a much, much better place relative to monitoring, to people paying for the water we use, and the effectiveness, full circle on all of this, I think, is a step forward in the right direction. So, did you present on this at the conference already? You were going to, or you're?
This is the plans in the future, yes.
Okay.
Once we have more data available and show
Yeah.
some really good stories of what we've accomplished and stuff, yes, hopefully later this fall or in 2020.
Terrific. Councilor Craig?
And I think the icing on the cake is definitely going to be when our citizens are able to go online and monitor it themselves. And so that's going to be coming up within the next.
Plans are for 2020, but I can't guarantee anything right now, but there is plans for 2020, yes.
That'll finish it off nicely. So thanks for all the work.
Any other questions or comments? I think everything's been said, and I'd have to say thank you very much, Kevin. I'll look to council for direction on 6.1.2 regarding bylaw. Councilor Buckingham.
The council grant first reading of bylaw number 3-2019 2019, amendment to bylaw number 26-2016, the city's utility service bylaw.
Seconder, Councilor Judge. Any further questions or comments before I call for the question? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Moving on to 6.2. City Manager.
Thank you, Worship. Before you, we have the annexation negotiation protocols. The recommendation is that the council approve the City of Lloydminster County of Vermilion River annexation negotiation protocols as presented. During the January 14th, 2019 regular council meeting, this item was presented for adoption. After the question was called, the vote was tied, and pursuant to procedural bylaw, we entered a defeated motion. Council's main concerns with the protocols were centered around the provision which limits the number of councillors whom could be present during discussion. The city did review the contents of the protocols with the County of Vermilion River during their last INAC meeting, after which it was felt that the provision limiting the number of persons negotiating better reflected the basic principles of sound negotiating and ensured equal representation by both parties. It was further reiterated that no decision or action could be taken on any proposed item unless it was ratified independently by resolution of both councils. Both municipalities have identified negotiating teams that will work towards the goal of the City of Lloydminster's annexation of property currently under the control of the County of Vermilion River. The main goals of the protocols are to outline committee procedures that will facilitate the City of Lloydminster's expressed desire to negotiate the annexation of land sufficient to meet its long-term growth needs. For its part, the County of Vermilion River has indicated its willingness to be a party to such negotiations so that the long-term growth needs of both municipalities can be accommodated in an orderly and mutually beneficial way. Both parties have agreed to negotiate in good faith to reach a mutually agreeable result that considers the interests of each municipality and affected landowners. Both negotiating teams have agreed to these protocols in principle. Any agreement reached by the negotiating team is to be considered an agreement in principle and is subject to the approval of both councils prior to becoming binding. There is one minor change that we have made since the original, and it's just in terms of the negotiating teams with the change at the County of Vermilion River. We've just put interim CAO as a current, just until the county is okay with that at this time. So that's the only change that was made since the last discussion. And I guess your options today are to accept the protocols as presented or direct administration to obtain further information and report back at a future meeting. So I guess turn it back to you for questions, or if any INAC committee member wants to answer any questions as well.
Thank you, City Manager.
I just want to make a comment that I think that these negotiating protocols really do encompass the best interests of the community, and for time efficiency as well, I think to move forward in a timely manner as well. So I'm happy with how things look. I just wonder about that term, interim CAO. Will that need to be revised once someone's put it in place, or is it good just like that?
We have been in discussions with the County of Vermilion River, and they're comfortable with that wording, and that's identifies the position. So when they finally do fill that position, it doesn't mean you have to bring them back to have those further discussions.
Perfect. Just not being one of the council members on this committee, I just want to thank those that are, because I know there was a lot of time and effort that went into developing these protocols.
Councilor Pagano.
Yeah, I still hold my ground as far as I think that any elected official should have the right to attend any type of public meeting, or but in the best interest of the number of negotiations that have gone on over the years with this particular annexation side, I think this is not the hill to die on. We can deal with that at a later date, and I agree with the annexation protocols.
Councilor Baker.
Thank you, Your Worship. Appreciate the work you've done on this, and as you know, the last meeting, the public spoke against the closed doors to council members to attend as observers. And just so the public knows where I stand, I still disagree with that policy. However, there is a slight variation from our normal meetings, I would never want to see an in-camera session within our own council, because it would be wrong and probably contrary to the charter. In this case, we have a second party, you might call it, or a third party, which is the county of Red River. And they chose not to have observers. So just to make it clear, rather than hold this process up and have to start all over again, because annexation is very important to the city and has for the last 15 years, I will gladly support what's laid on the table today for the benefit of the long-term good for our city. So just to clear the air, that's where I stand on this issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor. Certainly, I'd like to chime in on this one. Since being elected mayor with this council in 2016, we've started some discussions with the County of Vermilion River, picked up the discussions that have been ongoing issues related to Councillor Baker. Annexation is a process. It's a business relationship that works for both parties, and we need to arrive at hopefully an amiable relationship and an amiable result. And I think I appreciate the council members that are on the committee and put time into it, because it is a fairly lengthy process, and we'd like to move that process forward. Our indications are we've had some successes to this point with the county, and we'll continue to work through those with the county. So looking forward to coming back to this council on a regular, and we will continue to report on a regular basis, basically monthly, to as where we're at from that perspective. So council members are informed, because as it is stated, the decision of this council will be the final decision. There will be no decisions made on behalf of the city at that table, other than simply hopefully coming to an agreement that we believe is something that is amiable to the city, and that as council, as a total group, debated in this chamber, in the open, is to the best interest of the community. And I think that's the resolution that we're working towards, and that's our goal as the committee. So I think I can speak on behalf of the committee members. That is our goal, is to move this forward in an amiable solution. But at the end of the day, it is business, and we will continue to carry out business at that table when we're discussing it in the city's best interest, and bringing it back to ensure that this group has that final say as to where we go with that. Any other comments? With that, I'll look to, Councillor Torson.
Thank you, Your Worship. I guess from my perspective, I'd just like to say thanks to the other members of council for, kind of understanding the arguments and everything, and understanding why it's really important to continue to move the ball forward. I think it'll be, in one way, it'll be incredibly easy to let this fall off and fall apart and miss meetings and things like that. And it's really important that we keep pushing forward if we ever want to see, resolution in this area. So thank you.
No further questions or comments. I'll look for direction from council on 6.2.1. Councillor Fedman.
The council will approve the City of Lloydminster, County of Vermilion River annexation negotiation protocols as presented.
Second, Councillor Baker. Any further discussion before I call for the question? Not seeing any. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Moving on to the agenda. I believe that would take us next to correspondence. More correspondence. So on to the mayor and council's report, which I attached for everyone's information. It has been another busy month of late January into February. Basically, as it was discussed previously, we did attend, most of the council attended the SUMA convention in Regina. And we did highlight that there is a little bit more money coming from the provincial government, which we appreciate. They raised the revenue sharing from the province to the municipalities across Saskatchewan, and we'll look forward to even a better year next year. Is what the minister indicated, so we'll see that hopefully come to fruition. From that perspective, there's been lots of things in our city. We had an excellent Agrivision trade show at the exhibition, well attended. We've had the opportunity to, the city managers and administration, myself, attended some updates on municipal law, which is always of interest in the community, as well as from our perspective as to what's happening in other communities. The city was, I would like to say blessed, but I wouldn't call it that, on February 18th with Winterfest that was organized by the city and various organizations in the city. It was held indoors simply due to the weather. And I think we can all agree that February is going to be a record in the books from the perspective of being a cool one again, like it had been many years ago. But, it was very well attended. I want to thank all the groups that helped out with the city staff. They did a terrific job at Winterfest. The families were just tremendous. We had donors that were sponsored with hot dogs, popcorn, various companies and businesses within the city that stepped forward, as well as, like I say, nonprofit organizations that helped it happen. Other than that, we had the opportunity this past week to travel to Edmonton to receive a Smoke Free Spaces Award that acknowledges this council's promotion to anti-smoking. It was great to be there, to be recognized among 5 communities in Alberta that have taken that leap forward to adopt smoke-free public places. And from that perspective, I brought in greetings to the RCMP Youth Academy. We had 20 young people spend their week break at the Lloyd Comprehensive High School and working extensively with the RCMP. People may have saw the helicoptering last week in the city. That was part of the program. They were exposed to the K-9 unit, the bomb squad team. They refined many different skills, including physical fitness, as they found out how difficult it is to be a full-time RCMP officer and maintaining that. So I think we had 20 young people that made our city very proud as graduates of that program. Some history. I understand some people have moved on from that program and have value for the RCMP, so certainly it's great to see the recruitment work that they're doing. Saturday night was a busy evening. We had the coldest night of the year in the community, and great news there. They raised their goal and exceeded it, and are still collecting money to help the men's shelter. Again, as we talked about cold February, they've been very busy at the men's shelter. Terrific to see that the fundraising went well, and Cutter Rally for Cancer was a huge success again. They braved the cold, and appreciate a member of our executive team, Denise McDonald, being on that committee. Denise, thank you for your extra activities in the community. They were well noted and appreciated at the banquet. And, it takes, again, a group of volunteers to make an event happen, so thank you very much for that. That's pretty much a summary of my report, but that's the short version. I'll leave it up for the reading if anyone that wants it from that perspective. I'll look to council if there's anything that anyone wishes to add. Can't believe, Councillor Fagan, you don't want to get one more kick in the cat for the polar splash?
Well, that's pretty self-promoting.
Well, I understand they're still looking for $15,000 to encourage the mayor into the pool, so or to the wet bar or whatever the heck it's going to be, a tank full of cold water. So if anyone has the inkling to support the efforts of the Handyman and Border City Connects and all the activities that go on, I'm more than glad to accept your donation. See Councillor Fagan after the meeting, and he'll direct you to the website, I believe, that people can donate.
Thank you.
And on top of that, we'll be hosting the Battle of the Badges. The fire department and the RCMP will duke it out for the 5th annual Todd Gustafson Memorial program. And I know the donuts have already been flying around the arena, so it should be a good time had by all. The chief and Constable Herzinger had an opportunity to demonstrate their skills. So I didn't actually see the donut eating portion of it, but I'm sure we'll save that for the day. Any other comments, Council? Not seeing any. I will look to inquiry. Oh, any other matters that this council needs to deal with? Councilor Thorson.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just had a quick question. As far as the tax assessment appeal deadline, what is the tax assessment appeal deadline? I know there's often confusion in the public because people wait for their property tax bill before they get strong feelings about it. And then generally the time to appeal anything is passed. So I just wanted a reminder of that one.
I believe it is April 23rd, Councillor, but I will confirm that for you.
Okay, perfect.
Councilor Buckingham.
Thank you, Worship. I believe that there's an introduction to be made from the gallery today as well that hasn't happened as of yet.
Ah, indeed. We'll look to the city manager and to the city clerk.
And I'll ask the chief to come up to introduce his assistant chief.
Chief Newton, welcome.
Good afternoon, Council. I'm here today and I'm very pleased to announce our newest appointment of our Assistant Fire Chief to Assistant Chief Bill Giesing. Bill brings a wealth of knowledge and experience. He has served 30 years in the industry, and he will assist the fire department's leadership team in the future of the fire service. A man of few words.
A few words. Well, welcome, Assistant Chief Bill.
Thank
To
you.
the city, and we're all looking forward to having you on the team. We've been here a couple of weeks getting settled in, and hopefully you enjoy getting settled right in and on to work.
Excited to be here.
Thank you. Is there any other matters at this time for this council to deal with? If not, I will look to inquiries from the media.
Thank you, Mayor Albers. Media requested to speak with yourself, Mayor Albers, as well as Councillor Brown Monroe. We would also like a brief photo opportunity with council if possible. If we could get everybody together in front of the podium here for a kindness wins photo op. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much. And with that note, certainly the anti-bullying campaign has been sponsored by the co-op in the city and doing a great job. And I noticed, thank you all council for decorating in the t-shirts today that they provided. So we'll get a photo opportunity. Thank you very much. I'll look for your motion to recess.
Motion to recess.
Councilor Diachak, seconder. Councilor Fagin, all in favor?